Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our NXT review. And wow, this was a great episode of NXT. I feel like the past few weeks, NXT has been solid. It's not like anything's been atrocious. But there was something about this NXT. I think the ground it laid for the future, the matches it had, and then the context of this show, it lent itself to get you excited. And that's what I think the big strong point was of this NXT. Again, it laid a lot of ground for future shows, some as immediate as next week. Others, you don't know when certain things are going to happen. But there was definitely a certain air about this episode, and I just got really into it. This was such a fun hour, Ashton.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had a really, really fun opener. We had a great return that I don't think many people were expecting to happen as soon as it did. We found out some information about why someone has been missing. We got to see what happened at Beast in the East. We found out that we're going to get a new tag team debuting next week. We got new tag team number one contenders. So yeah, a lot of stuff happened on this show that makes me excited both for next week and for the live special that's coming up in August.
Definitely. I mean, Ashton was itching. He told me, the hype is so real. Let's get into recording. That's the kind of NXT this was, guys. So we just dived right into it. So without prolonging it, let's get right into our first segment, Heat of the Night. I've got 0 heats of the night tonight. I think for the build that this show did for future shows, and again, as you said, potentially the live special, and just the show contained in itself, it really hit the mark tonight. 0 complaints.
No technical heat from the Heat of the Night material from me. I just wanted to come out here and say, the NXT crowd, you guys seriously need to come up with a new insult for women other than ratchet.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, come on, guys, put your back.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If you look up ratchet on Urban Dictionary, it's basically like a hood rat. And if you don't know what that is, to put it in the most layman's terms possible, it's a female who is ghetto and really arrogant and, how do I put this? They call it a ratchet because the only thing it's good for is getting a nut off. Have you ever heard that expression before?
No, but I have now.
Yeah, and it doesn't apply to, first of all, it doesn't apply to Sasha. Second of all, it applies even less because of, in my opinion, because of physical appearance to Dana Brooke. I don't think it makes sense for either one of them in any way whatsoever. And just seriously, if you feel like you need to insult the women, which I'm not a big fan of, beyond just, booing the heels, which is kind of what you're supposed to do in wrestling, come up with something a little more creative that actually fits their character.
Yeah. I mean, and then the one thing I consistently commend the NXT, audience for is their creativity and chanting and the things they come up with. I mean, with Sasha, I never really got it, and you explaining it to me now, I mean, I guess with her whole vibe being the boss and everything, they felt like it was a good fit, although I think everybody should treat Sasha with the utmost respect because she is the boss and the queen of NXT. But yeah, I mean, Dana Brooke, there's a complete disconnect there. How does that even fit? How does that even begin to fit?
It doesn't.
And it doesn't, exactly. So put your back into your chants. I mean, you guys are better than that. You've come up with some really creative chants in the past. Don't lessen your creativity just because women are in the ring. Either just keep it to simple boos or, put your back into it. I'd prefer the latter, but whatever. Just, don't gas out like that.
I mean, Sasha gave you gold to work with. You could have been chanting Mrs. Piggy or something like that the whole time.
Yeah, really. Yeah, that's actually a really good point, actually. Like, Sasha was pretty much, interacting with the crowd, giving them that spark, a lot like Kane did with the crowd with Justin Bieber with Seth Rollins.
I thought that was Ambrose.
No, that was Kane that originally did that. That's where it all started.
Wow, thanks, Kane.
Yeah. So, yeah, I completely agree with you, man. That's a nice nitpick to have. But is there anything else you want to talk about?
No.
All right, then. Let us get right into our NXT review.
We might as well just pick up where we left off because we actually started the show with the women's tag team match. Dana Brooke and Emma versus Sasha and whoever she decides to have as her mystery partner. She comes out alone. Dana Brooke gets on the mic and says, "Oh, we were right. You don't have a partner," because that's how she talks. Basically making fun of her for having no friends. And then Sasha calls Dana Little Miss Piggy, which I thought was gold because it's, I mean, realistically, look at her. And she says, "Little Miss Piggy and your little kangaroo friend," referring to Emma because she's Australian. Again, right. Gold. Sasha's the king. I'm not even going to say queen because that would imply second in command. No, she's the king. And then she says she's not afraid of them and she'll take them both on by herself. But as she's getting ready to do so, we hear all too familiar music.
Yes, Charlotte's music hits. She comes out. She's eyeing Dana Brooke. She's eyeing the opposition. She climbs in the ring and she tells Sasha, "I'll team with you tonight, Sasha, but you owe me one." And she extends her hand. Sasha slaps it to say, "Okay, let's go." And, we have our tag match.
And the BFFs are reunited.
I know. They even did their little mannerism with the snap and the head back at one point when they were doing offense, I believe, to Dana Brooke. It was so cool.
You could even hear them like, "Okay, ready?" And then they kicked Dana Brooke in both sides. Like I think Charlotte kicked her in the front, Sasha kicked her in the back, and then they did that. It was awesome.
Yeah, really great. I mean, the synergy between these two has never been lost. And Corey Graves was quick to point that out. They're just picking up right where they left off. Solid tag team matchup. The babyfaces did great, getting the energy and everything. Heels did a great job, cutting Charlotte off at the pass and making the hot tag, go to Sasha Banks. But when it did, she was like a house of fire. And then the finish was pretty much, double submission holds. Charlotte with the figure eight, Sasha with the bank statement on Dana Brooke, and Dana Brooke taps out. So Sasha and Charlotte win the match. I feel like, again, it was a solid matchup, but it served the greater purpose of, somebody coming to Sasha's aid, but not, without getting their own benefit. Because after the matchup, they shake hands. They even share a hug, which the crowd popped for. I thought that was really cool. But then Charlotte grabs a microphone, and she said, "A deal's a deal." And she said, "I want a match for the NXT Women's Championship. And, like you promised, right?" And then Sasha takes the microphone, and she says, "You want another shot at this? Well, let me tell you something, sister. It's on." And then she drops the mic and she leaves. So we know that we were going to get Charlotte versus Sasha Banks. And later in the show, it would be confirmed for next week. Charlotte and Sasha Banks will be going one-on-one for the NXT Women's Championship.
I love the playful hostility.
Yes.
I love that, Charlotte and Sasha are all sassy with each other, but at the same time, they're both kind of smirking a little bit like, yeah, we're going to be amazing and tear the house down.
Yeah, definitely. I even told you, I hope this main event's next week.
Oh, it's going to. It's going to. I can't think of what else possibly would. I don't think the Tag Team Championship match is next week, and frankly, even if it was, I would still want this to main event over that.
Yeah, this whole segment was effective when the first words out of your mouth, and I loved it. You said to me, "John, I legit have goosebumps right now."
I did. I had them. I got goosebumps from this, yeah.
Yeah, so good.
That's how you know something's effective, like you said.
Absolutely. So nothing more I can say than that. I cannot wait for these two women to just lay claim to that NXT ring next week like only they can. It's going to be phenomenal.
Absolutely. Up next, though, we got another woman speaking her mind. Bayley. Seems like she's backstage, not necessarily at the Performance Center. I'm guessing she was backstage at one of the NXT shows that they've been doing on the road, maybe in Philly. I don't know. She talks about how Emma broke her hand. I love that they're putting the blame on Emma, getting her that heat. And she says that her goal is to be the NXT Women's Champion, and she goes as far as to relate herself to Triple H and Stone Cold because they both came back from injury to become amazing champions, and that Emma would be her first target when she gets back.
Said, "Emma, you're first in line, and you'll be getting more from me than a hug."
Yep.
And that's how it ends. And I like that. I think it stays
simple, succinct, to the point. I dig it.
Absolutely, and it keeps in line with the characters. So nothing more to say than that. We can move on.
Okay, well, that's the thing, is moving on, really, we're going to be skipping over a bunch of stuff, because at this point, they showed a highlight package of the Owens Balor feud that's been going on for the last month or two, and then they showed the entire match from Beast in the East. And if you want to know what we thought about that, check out our Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens Beast in the East live reactions. They went up on Saturday. They should still be available on my channel. If you want to watch our entire Beast in the East live reactions, which, I mean, it was only 4 matches because it was this, Jericho Neville, the Divas match, and something else that I don't remember right now. Oh, the Brock Lesnar match. Duh. And yeah, that whole thing is actually in a playlist. So if you want to watch this single video, check it out on my channel in the videos section. If you want to watch all 4 videos of our live reactions to the Beast in the East show, check out the playlist. Again, that would be in my playlist section of my channel. And that being said, after that, since we're not going to actually cover it on TWitWoW again, we get a Kevin Owens, I don't even want to say promo because he didn't actually say anything. He was sitting on some steps, I'm guessing backstage in Japan, and the interview asked him, he was like, you just lost the championship to Finn Balor, can I get some thoughts? And Owens just slowly raises his head up, gives the camera a look of absolute disdain, and then gets up like he's going to shove it, and then it cuts away. Perfect.
Again, much like the Bayley promo earlier, stays right in line with the Kevin Owens character. You can't even really call it a promo, as you said. It was just an action, but he's a despicable character, and he can't take the loss on the chin. It's eating away at him. So I really like that. Simple yet effective.
Yep. All right. Now we get to some interesting new storyline development. Devin Taylor with Chad Gable.
Yes.
Yeah. He says. She says, last week you offered to Jason Jordan to be a tag team partner again, and he turned you down. What are your thoughts? Why do you think he keeps doing that? And Chad Gable says, last week, it's been going on for about a month now, I think he just said weeks. And he guesses that Jason Jordan just doesn't want to be a winner, that he doesn't want to dominate everybody, and that he just wants to stay where he is on the totem pole, which is at the bottom. And he says that the offer is always going to be there, and he's always going to be there, ready, willing. And then as he's about to say Gable, we hear Jason Jordan's voice, and he says Gable. He's like, Gable. And he brings up all this stuff that's been going on, and he says, I have some news. And Gable's just like, go ahead, say it. And Jordan's just like, you're in. Next week, we're going to have a tag match together.
Next week is going to be so epic.
It is, yeah.
Sasha and Charlotte are going to kill it, but I already expect them to kill it. Right. I am just so intrigued to see how Jason Jordan and Chad Gable are going to be as a team, and you know how high I am on Chad Gable just from his one debut and just these segments that we've been seeing from him. Really glad that the ball's finally rolling here and we got the debut next week, and thank goodness Jason Jordan saw the light and he realized he wasn't content being Ty Dillinger 2.0. This is going to be amazing.
I'm going to act like you didn't say that. And up next, we had a Solomon Crowe promo.
Yeah, man. Talks about, in between these 4 walls, which I call the crow's nest. I think he said, I'm able to, really just think and get myself in the zone. But out there is the NXT universe. And, he's back. He's stronger, he's meaner than ever, and he's ready to show everybody why he's NXT's resident little monster. I'm going to say right now, not crazy about the nickname.
Oh, I like it.
You like it?
I do, yeah, because he's that's the thing is, when you think monster in wrestling, you think 6'8", 300 pounds, big, scary, creepy guy that can dominate people. And Solomon Crowe fits nothing about that mold except for the fact that he can dominate people.
Right.
So I like it.
Yeah, I just think even though I know he's a smaller guy, I don't know why we have to be out and out about it with, little monster. Because to me it has a less threatening connotation rather than him just calling himself a monster and then you're
yeah, sure, it has a less threatening connotation, but then you see him.
Yeah. I guess it'll just take me some getting used to, I think. But
I think this is one of those cases where perception kind of deceives reality.
Right. But do we transition here from to his match with Marcus Louie?
Yes, we do.
Oh man, Marcus
Louie has a really bad case of TMJ that he needs to get looked at.
TMJ meaning?
Some kind of syndrome where your jaw locks up. Because he's like just constantly opening and closing his jaw for literally no reason whatsoever.
Baby Kane, man.
Kane never did that, okay?
No, but just...
The only thing that he has in common with Kane is that he doesn't have any hair and he's scary looking. That's it.
Yeah.
And then I guess some of his mannerisms are sort of kind of similar to freshly unmasked Kane back in 03 or whatever it was.
Right.
But that's it.
All the groaning though and everything, it's so weird.
And he has Solomon Crowe in a frickin' abdominal stretch and ah!
I'm not gonna be able to live. Oh my god.
What is wrong?
I don't know. Just Marcus Louie, man, is just so weird. But that's why I guess it works. I mean, the character's effective when I feel uncomfortable watching him in the ring.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything that can make you uncomfortable, to me, that's a win.
I know, right?
Because you are so difficult to shake up.
I mean, I was ready and willing to see Kevin Owens powerbomb an already injured Hideo Itami on the ring apron, and yet Marcus Louie skeeves me out.
Yeah, we're still gonna have to have that talk about that Hideo Itami thing, but
oh, we're never having that talk. But Solomon Crowe ends up clipping the leg of Marcus Louie after a pretty solid back and forth, given everything.
I like the signature offense here though, because he goes into the corner and then he clips the leg, and that little sequence right there from the corner to the off the ropes and then clipping the leg in the middle of the ring, that's the perfect setup that he's going to be able to use in every single match to set up the crowbar, which is an amazing name for his I forget what the name of it is.
Stretch muffler.
That move, finisher.
Yeah, you know what? I was even getting ready to say, Ashton, even though I may not like, one name with Solomon Crowe being the resident little monster, I love the name of his finisher now with the crowbar. See, now I feel like things are...
Is that new, or has he used that name before?
I feel like that's new, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a bit older and maybe you and I just haven't caught it up until now.
I feel like it's been used before, but it might just be because it just seems like such a natural name for it that, I kind of jumped to the conclusion that, oh, well, obviously that's always been in the name of his finisher.
Right. But, yeah.
It's amazing, though. It's perfect. That's the kind of name for a finisher that will that'll stick with him all the way up to the main roster. His entire career. That's it.
Yeah, definitely. Completely agree with you. So, yeah, solid outing from Crowe, and we'll see what the future holds for him.
Absolutely. Up next, we had a Vaudevillains backstage promo. Really, really succinct. They just say that they're going to do as men do, and they're going to show Enzo and Cass, blah, blah, blah. They just basically, at the end of the day, all they say is that they're winning tonight.
Yeah, pretty much. I love the Vaudevillains. This promo was succinct, nothing really new here. And
it turns out, cue Paul Heyman, this wasn't a prediction, this was a spoiler.
Yeah, really. Because, as just pretty much out and out about it, we get to the main event, Enzo and Big Cass versus the Vaudevillains. Quick side note, Vaudevillains have a new theme.
Side note, between the promo and the match, they showed the video where Finn Balor was backstage after his victory, shaking hands with Neville and Cesaro, and then Cena showed up and he shook hands with him. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I didn't catch what Cena said to Balor the first time, but watching this replay, he said, whenever you're ready to come after this, and he motioned the U.S. Championship, he said, I'll be waiting. Yep. So that's definitely teasing an open challenge call in the future.
I think a lot of people predicted that it was either going to be Sammy or Balor to take it off of him.
Very interesting.
There's probably just as many people predicting that Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens are going to take it off of him, too, so...
Well, that's what I think makes Battleground so compelling, because Cena's issuing that challenge, and yet he still has to stare down Kevin Owens at Battleground, which, of course, everybody's going to be getting our preview predictions for that the following Saturday. God, TWitWoW is going to have so much content blowing up soon. But,
what do you mean by the following Saturday?
Well, it's not going to be this Saturday, so the following Saturday after this Saturday.
So next Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday. It's going to, really have all that discussion out there. But this tag match, focusing on that,
This felt like a really big deal from the get-go, though.
Yeah, and you know what I think really helped with that, and I like this? Enzo and Cass pretty much play it straight. Enzo does his usual entrance and stuff, don't get me wrong, he does that intro, but then when Cass takes the mic, he just simply said, it's not about spitting lyrics or anything on the Vaudevillains, it says, hey, This is about the number one contendership for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Put your dukes up, boys. And he puts the mic down. So he's playing it straight. He's like, This is what it's about.
And that's what I liked so much, because these guys are always such jokesters. They're always so, fooling around, cutting jokes, talking smack about their opponents and that kind of stuff. But tonight, Enzo did his shtick and Big Cass got down to business.
Definitely, and I loved it. I loved the teamwork of the Vaudevillains, really cutting Enzo off at the pass, because that's NXT really recognizing that Colin Cassidy has such an amazing hot tag. There was one great double team from the Vaudevillains I really liked at one point. Simon Gotch did like a rope-assisted foot stomp into Enzo's gut, and then Aiden English runs along the ropes and he just kicks him in the chest, like a running kick. So I really like that double team.
No, that was actually, it wasn't a foot stomp. It was an elbow drop, remember?
It was an elbow drop. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it was an elbow drop. And then Aiden English did the chest kick, the running chest kick, which I really like that. And then, we got to talk about it. Colin Cassidy's hot tag. Good freaking God.
What more is there even to talk about?
The only spot that I feel like is worthy of mentioning, because you and I were freaking out over it, his swinging sidewalk slam.
Oh, it was beautiful.
When I think it was English he caught in it, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, I think it was Gotch. And yeah, just absolutely insane. But then this is where the upset happens, because I'm telling Ashton the whole time. He can tell you, Ashton, I'm into this match. It's fun, but I know Enzo and Cass are going to walk away with the win. I even went as far as to say that the Vaudevillains winning, because I'm a Vaudevillains mark. I love these guys. Would be like Johnny Mundo winning the world title. It's a nice thing to think about, but that's where the buck stops. But apparently, in the happiest way possible, I was wrong, because Cass makes the tag to Enzo. And they're ready to put Gotch away, even though Gotch never got the tag. English was still the legal man. Gotch slides out of the ring. He grabs Big Cass by the leg, so smart, and he pulls him out of there. Enzo still goes for it all, though. When he sees English, he rolls through on the crossbody, but English is able to overpower him because, Enzo's a smaller guy,
right.
And he pins Enzo Amore. So the Vaudevillains are actually the number one contenders for the NXT Tag Team titles. Can I just take a moment and just say, as a fan of these guys, that a few TWitWoWs passed before they just dropped off the face of the earth. We thought the Vaudevillains were probably going to break up because they were on a losing streak, and now they're right back in the title hunt. God, I love NXT. So good.
John, you're talking a lot about the Vaudevillains, and I'm very happy for them that they got this win, and then they got to do their pose at the top of the ramp, which was epic.
Yeah.
My question is, where do Enzo and Cass go from here?
I don't know, dude.
How scary is that to think about? I'm going to say ever, although obviously that's going to come off as hyperbole because you can never say never in wrestling, but I don't ever want these guys to break up.
Right, and me either, and you know that. Oh, yeah, you and I have had big conversations about that, but it's so funny, Ashton. It's so funny, because you and I knew that this match was happening on last week's NXT TWitWoW.
Right.
And you said to me, because we had a conversation about it, and it's so funny because you said to me, well, John, remember, the last time we were so certain about a particular challenger being the one to take the title off of the champion, it was Sami Zayn and Bo Dallas.
Yep.
And Neville came out of nowhere, and he did that honor. Now, am I equating that directly to the Vaudevillains? Not necessarily. I wouldn't bank on the Vaudevillains winning the tag team titles. But it's following that similar trajectory.
Yeah.
Because Smart Money would have said Enzo and Cass immediately get the rematch, especially considering it wasn't that many weeks ago they beat Blake and Murphy and Alexa, Blurfexa, in a 6-person tag team match. And now they've been outed here. So now, and here's another question too, because let's really have a talk about Enzo and Cass. We know Gable and Jordan are going to be teaming now. Yeah. How fast are they going to push that team? Ashton, as much as I hate to say it, the Hype Bros, Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder, they're undefeated as a team currently.
Don't do this to me.
I don't want to do it to you, dude. I think you know why I'm bringing all this up. It's like you make a legitimate point. What happens to Enzo and Cass now? Because I wouldn't say that they
have a little bit of a thought that I just want to kind of put out there and see if it sounds kind of like a consistent character trait to you, just to kind of see if it sounds good in two people's minds rather than just mine.
Go for it, man.
What if this leads to Enzo feeling so guilty for getting pinned that he decides to obviously kayfabe, not permanent or anything like that, retire from in-ring action to focus on managing Cass to an NXT World Title run.
Interesting. That actually has a very interesting angle to go with there, because it wouldn't break these guys up. They'd still be tight. But then you could really focus on Colin's singles career. And let's be honest here, Ashton, you and I...
That would give Enzo time to train more, too.
That would give Enzo time to train more. And here's the thing, Ashton, not staying in the confines of the kayfabe of the situation. You and I have talked about Colin Cassidy before, and you especially have said that you feel like Colin Cassidy has all the tools to just be that kind of guy in the WWE. Between his height, his look, and everything else. And the guy can go. Like, the crowd is into his offense. So I think if he was to make a serious bid for the NXT World Championship, which I think would be more significant in this era of NXT, given the talent that we currently have on the roster, that could be really fun to watch. I'm not opposed to that idea.
What if... Oh my god, dude, I just had a freaking realization.
What?
What if this is their last match on NXT and they're getting called up?
Oh, interesting.
Because they were just hot on the trails of the tag champs.
That's true, dude.
And now they're just dropping it completely.
Yeah.
Oh.
So maybe that whole, post kind of Raw 30-second hot seat discussion on Raw TWitWoW about Blake and Murphy being called up and being the next tag champions, maybe I should have been thinking about Enzo and Cass. Oh, man. You think?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. That's that to me, that just kind of clicked. Oh my god, what if they did this as a way to kind of write Enzo and Cass off because they're getting called up?
You know what's so funny is how
we were just having a conversation about the lack of teams in WWE's tag team division on the main roster.
Right. Yeah. Wow. You know what? Our intimate knowledge of NXT and how long you and I have been watching it week in and week out, I think that almost raises the stakes of Battleground even more than the card itself, because it's going to make me pay attention to every single match now with an extra eye, because I'm thinking, well, what NXT call-up could kind of correlate to that particular storyline?
What if they put the titles back on the New Day and we get a New Day versus Enzo and Cass feud?
The promos, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, my God.
You got one team coming out, feel the power, and you get the other team out, my name is Enzo Amore, and they both have their entrances, and then the promos, and the trash talk, and oh man, that could be incredible.
And I'll tell you this right now, Enzo and Cass would be the perfect foil for the New Day. Because I've read from some people now that they feel like the New Day has kind of lost their heat, which I kind of agree with to an extent, but I still believe they're a hot act. And if you put the belts back on them, they'll regain a little bit of the momentum that way. You were dying at the Raw Backstage Fallout segment they had with JoJo recently, as was I. They've still got the total personality, and if they're working off of Enzo and Cass, and see, that's again my gripe with the main roster, because you know that they would probably be confined to their best stuff in WWE.com segments or things like that. I want to see them do this kind of stuff in the ring and really get the crowd engaged. But, yeah, that's definitely an avenue to go. Could we be seeing Enzo and Cass moving up? Which, to me, if that is the case, let's bring it full circle. Vaudevillains are number one contenders. If Enzo and Cass are out of the picture, do they take the titles off of Blake and Murphy, and then maybe Jordan and Gable kind of get built up for the Vaudevillains?
I don't know. I don't want to look that far into the future for NXT.
Well, no, I don't want to look that far into the future either, but let me just give you one more thing to think about. Just one more thing. Vaudevillains, they originally were supposed to have two matches, but the one guy had actually, that was Sasha Banks' fiance, I forget his name. They were supposed to have two matches with Jason Jordan and a partner that didn't work out, even though they didn't do every match with Jordan, because I know Enzo and Cass had one. Vaudevillains have mixed it up with Jason Jordan before, but that was when he had a lackluster partner. I could very easily see them crossing paths again, but this time with Gable at Jordan's side. Oh man, now I'm really getting interested in the NXT Tag Division again, because this was just a weird victory for the Vaudevillains that I really didn't see coming. You gotta wonder.
See, and the funny thing to me is that this makes you more interested in the NXT Tag Division. This gets me hyped for the WWE Tag Division.
Exactly.
Because like you said, NXT, we've got the Hype Bros, we've got Jordan and Gable, we've got the Mechanics, who still are ripe for a push. We've got the Vaudevillains, we've got Blake and Murphy, we've got tag teams. They don't need Enzo and Cass, and those guys have been main roster ready for probably close to a year or two now.
Yeah, definitely. With the way they've got their act down, with Cass as the muscle and Enzo as the scrapper, and really like, the Mike Talker Skywalker.
And dude, Enzo Amore, and I realized this tonight. I'm pretty sure I've probably pointed out before, but it really stood out to me tonight. Enzo is amazing at getting beat up.
Yeah, dude.
He's so good at selling and bumping.
So on point. You really just got me excited for the future, not just the NXT Tag Division, but like you said, WWE Tag Team Division, and just Enzo and Cass as a team, as an entity. It's going to be very exciting times, I think, in the WWE. But anything else you want to say about this main event?
No.
Vaudevillains win, baby. Excelsior! So with
That's
that
not
said,
the catchphrase anymore, dude.
I still remember the good old days. It's kind of their gimmick. They remember the good old days too. They're stuck in them. Oh my dude, wait, we can't move on from the segment until we celebrate the real winner here.
Corey Graves!
Freaking Graves. Ladies and gentlemen,
what's the matter, Corey? Wouldn't you want Enzo to represent the company as a tag team champion? I'd rather brush my teeth with a chainsaw.
I'm sure my cohort in commentary has known this for forever and a day now, but this match really solidified with me that not only is Corey Graves the best heel commentator, because I think the only competition would be JBL if you even want to call it that, but he's the best commentator going, period. He has the best one-liners, and I love his interactions with Saxton. How many ping
Can
pong
he
balls?
please replace JBL on Raw?
Dude, don't tease me. Because that would be so amazing.
Dude,
Hey,
dude, seriously, a commentary booth of him, Cole, and Saxton? Are you kidding me? You're literally just replacing NXT's Rich Brennan with Michael Cole, who's literally just an upgraded version of Rich Brennan. They're practically the same person.
Tell me, Saxton, how many ping pong balls did you throw on that goldfish bowl just to get a pet to like you? You know what?
And then Saxton with, don't make fun of me for having dreams, Corey.
I don't know if it was just this Lucha Underground tour that we got done having, but I know one TWitWoW, you kind of jumped the gun a little bit and said who your high spot or low shot was going to be. I'm going to say my honorary high spot right now is Corey Graves.
Well, dude,
I'm just going to come out and say
it. We don't have anything about in this show.
Yeah, high spots and low shots, and I know we do low shots first, so I'll do low shot. I guess my low shot is Marcus Louie. Loses, is still creepy, has no direction. I guess he has no interest in getting comeuppance on either Sylvester Lafort or Tyler Breeze. He's just kind of there. So, yeah, nobody likes you, Marcus.
They really don't.
All right, who's your low shot?
You know what? I feel like, didn't I have Kevin Owens as my low shot for Raw?
I believe you did.
Okay. Then I'm not going to do it again for this show because I already got that out of the way. So I'm going to have my low shot be... You know what? I'm just going to go with Enzo and Big Cass and keep it simple because they did lose a huge opportunity tonight and it dropped them out of the tag title hunt.
I know. Yeah, but now to me, again, to emphasize, honorary high spot Corey Graves. So many great lines tonight from him. And I really got to give credit to Byron Saxton, too, because he knows how to have a good rapport with Corey Graves at the commentary table. Those guys are wonderful together.
They are.
Really. I've liked them for a while now, but they really hit it out of the park tonight. Really did. But for my official high spot, I gotta do it.
The
Vaudevillains, baby! Oh my god, I didn't expect them to be back in the title hunt.
You gotta love the Vaudevillians, John.
I can't wait for the full version of the theme to be released. I do want to go back and listen to that to kind of get my full opinion on it. I love the ring attire. I just love the look of this team, and if they win,
I was just getting into the heel theme, and they changed it again.
I know, right? That's
like the epic evil villain handshake. Bum, bum, bum. I love that.
And that's the thing, too, dude. That was one of the themes for me where, like, I initially was put off by it, but when you, like, listen to it in full, because when they finally released it, I listened to it a few times, I'm like, you know what? I really dig this. Yeah, let's do it. And everybody knows I've been a mark for the Vaudevillains for a long time. Hell, I even wrote a really lengthy post on Pweetov about them, which I shared with an ODQ writer, which he shared in his column, which was really cool. So I've been a big fan of these guys.
Was that the John Report?
No, that was actually somebody else. But yeah, I guess they were having a lazy week, and they're like, "Oh, here's what."
How many freaking no DQ writers do you talk to?
Too many, I think, is the answer to that question.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody knows I've been such a huge fan of these guys, and if they finally win the NXT Tag Team titles, I can dig it. So they're my high spot. What about you?
Oh, man. My high spot is going to actually be Solomon Crowe, because it was a great return for him, and even though he didn't necessarily have like a one-sided dominant match against Marcus Louie, he still looked really good in his victory, and he has probably the coolest finisher name in NXT.
Absolutely. I think everything's really coming together nicely for Solomon Crowe. Let's see if he can ride this wave of momentum. He's slowly, building something up. And yeah, he had a great night tonight for sure. So with that said, do you have any closing remarks about tonight's NXT?
No, sir.
All right then. Well, guys, with that, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. Talk to us. What do you think the future holds for Enzo and Big Cass? Main roster push? Do you agree with Ashton's theory that maybe Cass will be groomed for, an NXT World Championship push with kind of Enzo as, like his mouthpiece, his hype man, if you will? What do you think about the Vaudevillains being number one contender? And also, what are you thinking about presumably the main event of next week, Charlotte versus Sasha Banks for the NXT Women's Championship? Be sure to take the conversation over to Tweetoff, an amazing pro wrestling group on Facebook. Lots of people love NXT over there, especially the women's division. You gotta love it, in the words of Booker T. But I get it. If you guys are minimalists and you want to keep the conversation to Ashton and myself, Ashton's got you covered. He has made a TwitWoW subreddit. From there, you can comment on all of our TwitWoW episodes, as well as create pro wrestling threads for us to talk about with you. And we will see you again for our Monday night Raw review. The goal.
ROH, dude, ROH!
Oh, see, it's going to take some getting used to, guys. ROH this Saturday. Sorry, I jumped the gun. ROH this Saturday, where hopefully everybody gets a healthy dose of vitamin Adam Cole, baby! So until then, tune in and peace out.